All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Wednesday afternoon, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, and I should say Wednesday, May 26th. Great to see all of our students live inside Cyber Group. For all of us on social media, welcome on back. I mean, we got to get right to it, folks. We have as much moving here heading into this afternoon as we had from yesterday. So that's first and foremost. And then also, much like yesterday, we have class on the horizon for all of us, gold, platinum, diamond, C2 students at least. You folks have access to the Phase 3 stock course with Fausto heading into the market close. So, of course, he'll be, following our picks here. And if there's anything else that pops after 3 p.m. Eastern, he'll look to try and, trade it, and you look to follow him. And when I mean follow, I don't even necessarily mean to join him on the trade. Really follow what he's saying, follow what he's doing, really just being a student, just observing and watching what he does in the heat of the moment. So for right now, this Lizzie stock here, L-I-Z-I, I mean, couldn't be any better of a stock to start off with, just, by putting this on our list. Relatively cheap, good spreads at the highs, everything that you would want to see. So Kathleen ended up picking up, I think it was like 40 or 44 cents. I don't want to shortchange her, but she ended up getting in, I think, roughly off that breakout off of 610, 615 level. The stock was a big runner for us back in February, and then March and April time. Looks like it had a couple of big pops and drops from that point. But yeah, I mean, the stock's been on our radar on and off, more often on perhaps just of late, but we are always hopeful to see the stock make another big squeeze up or a fraction of what it did back in February. So that's what we're getting here, seemingly enough. And I'll tell you right now, before I even started this meeting, I just had Benzinga Pro up and loaded and ready just to check the news on this stock. There's no real news on this stock. It actually just says Lizzie trading higher, not seeing any company specific news to justify the price action. So it goes to show we don't need news in order to see a stock make a very clean and easy move up. When I say easy, I mean based on the spread and liquidity. This stock's not hopping around 50 cents a pop here, right? 50 cents a minute. So by following the lows on the way up, the breakout off the highs on the chart there, that seems relatively easy to anticipate a potential move. Keywords potential. So granted, this ended up making as good of a move, good of a pop as you can imagine off that top or off that resistance. For right now, heading into the afternoon, not really seeing much of a resistance on the ask. I would assume 7 up top, 680 up. There we go. Actually, speak of the devil right here. 12,500 share order on the ask at 675 currently. There's our quote unquote iceberg. Either way, Lizzie pulling back quite a bit off that price or off the highs. So maybe it'll come back down towards support, maybe off of 645, 640-ish, maybe as low as 615, like we were talking about here, as resistance. All right. We're going to go from top to bottom here in just a moment, folks. I just, full disclosure. I'm in one stock right now, one trade. For all of us in Cyber Group, if you were to take a real stab in the dark here, real guess, what stock am I in currently? Norman says AMC. He is correct. I'm currently long on AMC. I did not mention this going into the afternoon meeting. I've been posting trades on this all throughout the day from the morning into the afternoon, but I actually ended up closing a position on AMC. I got stopped out on a position. I was in from roughly 1910, 1911. I got stopped out at 1938, practically where it's at currently. But look at the line on this chart here. I mean, I had this on my main trading platform that I'm actually taking this trade from, but I had this also posted inside the live trading room from a couple hours ago. Ended up providing as the top prior to 10 a.m. Eastern time. It ended up holding really well heading into the early afternoon. So, I was in this trade when it made this big pop. I'm in this trade now from 1919. That's my entry price. So I was hoping for a strong resistance to act as a strong support for a stock like AMC, which has a higher short interest and of course a big squeeze across the last few days and including today. I'm hopeful, right? And I set my stop, just do my due diligence, and granted, this is making a really nice squeeze right now, so I don't want to be a jerk and waste the profit on this trade. With this moving up as well as it has been, I would like to see this over 1950 much sooner than later. The thing that's been leading me to take trades on this more is simply just the fact that this has been following GameStop pretty nicely, off the pops, off the dips, off the shakes. So, if I happen to see GameStop make a really big squeeze up, really big pop, I'd imagine, AMC is going to go with it. All right. Bonnie's saying, isn't hope a 4-letter word? It's not as mean of a 4-letter word compared to some others. Now, with that in mind, hope is the reason for a lot of trades, but it shouldn't be the only reason, right? Like, hey, I'm expecting Riot and Mara to move up over time again with Bitcoin, right? Wouldn't I be hoping for all of that to move up if that's my belief? So as long as you're managing the trade, as long as you're setting your stop and not relying only on hope, then of course, then you have every right to take a trade and make it manageable, worth your time. So for right now, I'm going to hold on to this stock as we go through the meeting. I have this up on a separate screen, so if this ends up making some crazy shake back down, might waste some of the profit that I have currently, but I'll react and see where it goes. All right, so let's do it. Let's go from top to bottom. AMC is already number 12 on the gainers list, up over 18+%. This thing's probably going to freeze up this screen here, so let's move away from this while we can. OMI, wow, this thing's made a huge pop today and just even over the last month or so, really. I mean, I remember seeing this stock from the beginning of this year, much more within our price range, and damn, this thing made a really nice trend today. Very thin order book, so, I'm not too high on that, but for right now, it's interesting to see at least. The ASXC stock. How about this? I don't think one of our students, Donnie, is live inside the cyber group room right now. I'm kind of like punching the air right now, just like kind of frustrated seeing where this ended up dropping down to. For as much as this moved up, and I ended up missing the squeeze up on this trade earlier today. I mean, I was following AMC, mind you, and a bunch of other stocks, but this stock is shortable on TradeStation. I ended up taking, I think it was like a 4-cent loss or like 3-cent tiny loss because I was attempting the short trade right off the tops here, right around 280 at the time. It popped up a little bit higher. So, it wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when. And, once it ended up breaking back down here, it ended up providing us a really good short. I mean, practically as good of a short as it was a long. But for right now, making that second squeeze type of move right now, squeezing back up from support. But I don't know. I feel like this stock, although it has a high float, I just don't think that this is going to make as big of a move, as sharp of a move as we had from earlier. Maybe I'll put this on the side. ASXC. Maybe I'll come back to it at the end. All right. AMC still chopping around that 1950 level. I mean, easily enough. We'll get back to that stock by the end of this meeting. We'll show it by the end. Either way. Express pushing back up, so that's not much of a surprise. AMC's pushing. GameStop hasn't, tanked. It's holding its own. So Express trying to, do the same thing and make the move back up over 5. Just be patient on this stock. Don't just try and rush in right away. Unless if you happen to see literally all these others just completely explode, then that could be a bit different. But just it seems like it's been having a tough time breaking cleanly over 5. So that's where you could lead yourself into a bunch of tiny losses over and over and get frustrated, and just then the stock ends up popping without you because you're not confident within your abilities to follow this stock after, and then then you're even more upset. Holy crap. AMC is so volatile right now, folks. I mean, I'm not going to show it right now because it's going to freeze up this screen between the screen sharing software and all of that. This thing is making like a 20-cent move up and down just over the last bar. This IHT is pushing up a little bit here. I mean, it's got a thin order book, but we are pretty familiar with this stock. This stock's made a big pop for us back in the beginning of this month, dipped back down, as you could see, and back up today. I don't know what's up with this. I don't know if this is like a volume breakout, then it dies off, and the stock just kind of dumps off with it. Kind of like the ASXC. I'm not fully sold on it. I'll put this on the side. Interesting pop going into the afternoon, so maybe I do put this on at the end. Sol, not much going on there. FUBO. So no surprise to see this still kind of holding strong, not just near the highs, but just broke a high earlier going into this meeting. So this stock's been running up all day. I know one of our students, Norman, called it out going into the late morning. We were a little late after the open on it. Mind you, there were a bunch of others that, again, we were following. But, hey, this gave us a lot to work with. So off Norman's call out, it just kept going. I mean, you don't really expect that as much, but man, it was a fantastic trade and still is right now. So FUBO definitely I'll put on our main list. I don't know. Is this like one of the Reddit stocks back in January? It was like before all of that, going into the end of last year. And then I guess, like, you know, in the end of January, ended up making a bit of a squeeze back up, I reckon. But I don't know. I don't know if that was with it really, but maybe this is off of earnings. Who knows? Let's see what else we got. And to answer that question of who knows, I could probably figure that out myself. But, you know, it just goes to show we don't need to know the news in order to trade a stock. We don't need to have news in order to trade a stock. I mean, just goes, again, with Lizzie, you know, no news that's allowing that run up. Really quick, I just felt pretty ignorant with that whole FUBO comment. So FUBO, it might be in a partnership with DraftKings. I don't know. For everything I'm seeing on FUBO, it seems like DraftKings is kind of with it. Oh, maybe NBA playoffs. That could be. I think they have some streaming deal with Fubo TV. That honestly may be it. Kind of tacking along with the DraftKings headline there. Interesting. All right. Either way, you know, just curious, but nonetheless, we'll keep Fubo on our list. Just still near the highs. Lee, same thing. I know Lee was off of earnings. That's the headline on Lee. You know, they ended up beating EPS and sales estimates, but ended up making a nice push after the open. Took a little bit, but then ended up breaking out pretty nicely. Moved all the way up towards just about 23.50, and again, kind of holding near the highs. I don't mind putting this on our list for right now. I'll tell you what, right now, I don't want to be a bum and waste this whole profit I'm in on the AMC and the AMC trade. It would be about 21 cents, or they just nipped me right now, less than 20 cents. I just got out at 19.38, same exact price I got out at just before. If it ends up popping up, I'll try and go from there, but definitely just take the money and run at this stage. I was in from 19.19, so just about a 19-cent profit. All right, so another stock I did really well on today, you know, alongside AMC, I was following this CANN trade. And again, it goes to show, like, this wasn't on our main watch list. It was a more speculative play. I didn't really expect this to make nearly the type of run that it ended up making. And it's still near the high. So definitely I'll put this on our watch list for right now for the afternoon. But it just had a good setup. It was just holding under 8 in pre-market, and I was just more hopeful. So, you know, with hope comes the entry. You have to be confident with taking the trade. But from there, thankfully, this ended up giving me a really, you know, quick and easy 20 cents. I ended up jumping back in on this trade practically off this bottom as it pulled back down. And then from there, squeezed right back up. All right. So for right now, I mean, hey, it's near the highs. We ended up seeing a big, like, 78,000 share transaction, a print on the tape. It was priced at, I think, like 877, if I'm not mistaken, on the time and sales, like right here. 2 o'clock. So hopefully that could be support. This breaks back over 9, or breaks up towards 9, perhaps. Yeah, for the meantime, Ken, we'll focus on this. See what else we got. Dick's Sporting Goods. I think this is DKS. Man, you take your eyes off a stock for a while. I remember just trading DraftKings off of, like, news and, you know, just earnings and all of that over the years. And, like, when the hell did they become a $90 stock? I mean, obviously you could see over the last few months, several months, they've been squeezing up nicely. But yeah, I mean, you don't really follow this stock every single day once it just initially falls out of your price range. And from that point, hey, it ended up making this really nice steady trend up and ended up popping today. But for right now, just way too out of our price range, like I said. Clean Spark, CLSK, a couple of other familiar names, at least on the gainers side, before we hop over to the losers list. That one was kind of just meddling around. Tigers trending back up pretty well here today. Broke over yesterday's high, broke over 22 just over the last few minutes. But yeah, definitely, Tiger, TIGR, welcome back. Maybe I shouldn't have gotten out of AMC. That squeezed back up a little bit. All right, let's see what else we got here on the gainer side here, folks. Mara, EBON, Bitcoin-related stocks, Workhorse, EV stock. Damn, we got a lot here, at least in terms of familiar names. Solo, just at the high of the day, moving up really well. It's hard to not put this stock on our list. Solo. All right, so really quick, I didn't show Bitcoin yesterday. I'll show Bitcoin today. Not a whole lot really happened since Monday, but you know, Bitcoin ended up making a bit of a squeeze early this morning, pre-market up towards like 40,000. Things were looking great for Riot, Mara, CANN. That's part of the reason why I followed CANN at first. and pretty interesting. I mean, markets held up today after the market opened, the slingshot, but Bitcoin ended up dropping off shortly, prior to even 9:30. So really quick, I'll just show this really quick. I'm just telling you folks, full transparency. I jumped back on I jumped back in on AMC during this meeting, and it's popping back up right now. My current price is 1946. I'm juggling a few things at once right now, but for right now, you can see Bitcoin ended up diving off. This is just a minute chart, but pretty interesting to see, though. At least heading into the early afternoon, it ended up bottoming out and trying to build a support here across the afternoon. I like to use typically an hourly chart on Bitcoin, this hourly 6-hour graph as well. Nice pop on GameStop also. I think that's what's generating the squeeze up. Holy crap. Really quick, and I just want to show this just because you might think I'm blowing smoke on the AMC, but just for anyone on social media, I'm just going to show this too. For all of us in the trading room, I'll show you my trade here just coming up shortly. That's my main trading platform right now. I ended up just jumping in right here from 1946. I'll set my stop right now in front of you folks, if I can. Go. All right, back to our regular schedule of programming there. Let me just jump back to my Bitcoin chart for right now. Yeah, squeezing, well, I guess back down a little bit here over the last couple hours, but nonetheless, trying to still build long-term support over the last week and a half. So I said this from last week, we're not out of the doghouse yet on Bitcoin, unless if there's any tremendous news that comes out on Bitcoin. I would imagine that, we'll still kind of just have a slow grind back up. That's it. All right. Again, Leda and Grant, I'm going to show my trade. I just wanted to show that for all of us in social media that normally don't have the chance to follow us live, in the mornings or in the afternoons. So here, AMC just popped right back up, and that's what I was showing at least everyone just before. Showed them at least the screen that I have my trade in. But yeah. All right. So you know what? Let's hop over to the losers list. I'm going to manage this trade on the side, my AMC trade. See what else we got for right now. LRMR. I wrote this down this morning. It was on the top of the losers list, of course, but ended up making a slow dead cat bounce, but after just really flat, not pretty ugly. And really after this, not to sound lazy, like I said from yesterday, but bunch of stuff hard to borrow otherwise, unless if the stock's down big and, ready for a really big dead cat bounce, or maybe if it's shortable and breaking down more, I wouldn't be too interested in it. TAL, Nordstrom, JWN. That's it, folks. I'll tell you, all we really need is AMC at this point. But, otherwise there, we have plenty of other stocks to work with between Lizzie, Express, FUBO, like all these others here at this point. P-Trader, just a quick question from him on YouTube, just asking about Solo, if it has any news. Take a look. I kind of zipped through that list pretty fast, so I got a little time. So no real news specifically to Solo. It just says shares of EV and EV related companies trading higher, and on just positive sector sentiment following strong earnings from Li Auto, as well as Ford's announcement of its Ford Plus plan to improve electric vehicles. I think that's pretty much it. I'll take a last look, though, on other EV plays like Nikola and Workhorse. Again, I kind of brushed through those quick here. Workhorse still looks relatively active. It's at the highs. And also, Workhorse is a heavily shorted stock. So, not to say that's like a Wall Street bet Reddit play, but that group is so big, I'm sure they're talking about it. All right. Oh, we have two Grants here. I apologize there. Grant R, give me a quick sec, man. I got to finish up this meeting. Got to type the list out first, and then we'll be good to go. All right. So just stick with me for a quick moment. For all of us on social media, if you have any other stocks that are up, down more than 5%, I say up, down, left, right, more than 5%, type it in the chat board. Let me know. For all of us in Cyber Group, of course, you folks do the same. Bonnie posting some earnings coming up for after the bell today, or at least going into tomorrow. NVIDIA, American Eagle, a couple of those notable. Yeah, I have NTNX also as one stock, and not a whole lot this week, really. All right, so I'll tell you, folks, I think I'm going to call it. We got a good list here. So for the meantime, we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 stocks to work with in total. heading into this market close. For all of us on social media, as always, it's a pleasure, seeing you folks here day to day, week to week. Make sure that you like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel, that being youtube.com/cybertradingyou. And if you've yet to join us yet so far inside our trading room cyber group, go right down to the link on the banner below just to get started on our trial for all of our students there. Just make sure that you folks that have access to the phase 3 course, just click that link that Rich posted just a moment ago. Just click it early. Make sure that you have access early so you're good to go. I know that Fausto is prepping right now. If I'm not mistaken, he just messaged me saying that he was actually just focused in on the AMC trade here. So, I'm sure that he's looking forward to this trade and everything else going into this afternoon. Really quick before I sign off, almost forgot. I want to welcome one of our new students, one of our new gold students to Cyber Trading University, Dan Yu from California. Welcome aboard, Dan. I'm sure that you have I'm sure that you're looking forward to the phase 3 course coming up in just a few moments. Hey, be more than a guest to join. I would always say start off on the phase 1 curriculum first, work your way through, onto phase 2, onto phase 3. But if you'd like to watch the man himself, Fausto, trade the market close, hey, be more than happy to join. Just be more of an observer, if anything. All right. For all of our students, please do the same. I look forward to seeing most of us in class going into this afternoon. Take care.